Time now for our final weekend briefing before Election Day. Tonight, our focus is on Nevada, where two Democratic incumbents are trying to fend off Republican challengers in close Senate and gubernatorial races. In the Senate race, Democratic incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto faces former Nevada Attorney General Adam Laxalt, and Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak is up against Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo. When talking about Nevada politics, there's nobody better than Jon Ralston. He's the founder and CEO of the Nevada Independent, a nonpartisan, nonprofit news site. So this is the first election in Nevada with a new voting law in place that sends each registered voter a ballot by mail. And you have been keeping tabs on turnout. How's it looking so far?
Well, the turnout is not that heavy, and you expect that in a midterm, but it's very, very close between the Democrats and the Republicans, Jeff. The Democrats have about an 8,000 ballot lead out of about 650,000 ballots that have been cast. So it's very, very close in terms of the ballots.
Well, let's talk about the Senate race, because the Nevada Senate race is one of the closest in the country. There's been a number of polls that show Cortez Masto and Laxalt in a dead heat, which is not what Democrats expected, given that this seat is the one that was long held by the late Democratic titan Harry Reid. So help us understand the demographic shifts and the issues that are seemingly propelling Republicans in this race.
Well, listen, we're a purple state, and we have been for some time. And the atmospherics in a midterm, when the president is a Democrat, and especially when the president's numbers are not good, and they're not good here, are going to favor the Republicans. And that's what's happening here. Adam Laxalt, whom you mentioned, the former attorney general, cannot mention Catherine Cortez Masto's name without mentioning Joe Biden's name in close proximity. There's a reason for that, of course. They are trying to tie her to all of the things that have made Joe Biden's numbers plummet: inflation, gas prices, et cetera. And so the race is close. I think almost anybody with an R after his or her name would have made this a close race in this atmosphere. But Laxalt has a lot of backing from national Republicans. That rare candidate, Jeff, who has the endorsement of both Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell.
Well, in the governor's race, I know you moderated a town hall debate last month between Governor Steve Sisolak and the Republican challenger Joe Lombardo. What's their message on the economy? Nevada is in many ways a working class state. The high cost of living, inflation is resonating there in ways that it isn't across the rest of the country.
I think that's true, especially because of what the economy is here, driven by the service economy, driven by the gaming industry, that few miles on Las Vegas Boulevard South that everybody knows as the Las Vegas Strip is the engine for the state. And Steve Sisolak, the governor, shut it down for a couple of months during COVID, and the COVID hangover to some extent persists. And Joe Lombardo, the sheriff of Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is, has used that. Steve Sisolak has pointed out all of the indicators that the economy is coming back, that jobs have returned, but it's still not all the way there, and Lombardo has exploited that.
How have Republicans seized on the sort of nationwide trend among some Hispanic voters who have shifted away from Democrats? How is that showing up in Nevada?
You know, I've covered politics here a long time, Jeff, about 3.5 decades, and I've never seen the investment by Republicans, and especially outside groups in Hispanic Spanish language media, as there have been this time, putting out the same messages to the Hispanic community, essentially, in Spanish that they're putting out in English, that the Democrats are responsible for the high gas prices, and ours are some of the highest in the nation, and inflation. And when you're getting hit in your pocketbook, they are telling Hispanics that is the Democrats' fault. Hispanics have been 15 to 20% of the electorate every election in the last 15 years or so, Jeff, and they've been reliably Democratic. We're going to see if with the first Latina ever elected to the U.S. Senate at the top of the ticket, if that can hold here. If it can't hold here, that's a big problem for Democrats.
While we have you, let's look beyond the midterms to the 2024 primary calendar. Nevada has tried to supplant Iowa and New Hampshire in the Democratic primary. They want that first in the nation primary. The DNC, as best I understand it, has sort of put that decision on ice for now. What's the state of play? Do you think this is actually going to end up happening where Nevada goes first?
Well, I'm hoping so. For purely selfish reasons, I like the spotlight to be on my beloved state yet. But listen, they put it off because of election considerations and a senator in New Hampshire who may have been in trouble. But Nevada has a very good case to make. We are much more demographically diverse than either Iowa or New Hampshire. We're a purple state. And if Harry Reid were still alive, he passed away at the end of last year, I would have no doubt that Nevada was going to get it. Now, I think it's up in the air.
All right, John Ralston is the founder and CEO of the Nevada Independent. Thanks again for your time and for your insights.